Welcome to She Lancer, Mom Entrepreneur. I'm your host, Angela Olfest, otherwise known as VoiceOver Angela. In this podcast, we talk about my adventures in freelancing, my voiceover business, and everything else in between. Let's get started. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I don't see this coming up as live in Facebook, so if you are in my Facebook group, could you let me know if you can see and hear me? Because it looks like we still have gremlins. But anyway, welcome to another live community chat here on my channel. If you're new here, welcome. We welcome you with open, loving, warm arms. That sounded kind of weird, but you get my meaning. We're happy that you're here. My name is Angela. I'm a full-time voiceover artist and audiobook narrator, and my channel on YouTube and in my Facebook group. I try to share with you some tips and tricks and techniques that I use every day in my own voiceover business, and then we get together weekly in these live Q&A chats, discussions. If you're not new here, then you know that every week we have a new poll, and this time this poll is get your stuff together, Angela. Where are you currently in your VO career or in this journey of learning VO? As you can imagine, I get a lot of questions about all my YouTube videos and just about everywhere mainly about how do I get started? What equipment do I need? Do I really need training? Can I just use my phone? Can I just do this or do that? And I think there's still a lot of videos out there, mainly on, the short little videos that I'm sure the creators are hoping go viral about side hustles and things like that, and how you can just simply make money with your voice. You can, but there's not a whole lot of simply to it. This is not a get rich quick. This is not something you can start day one and start making money, especially with audiobooks. Because if you have dabbled or looked into or even have produced an audiobook or two, then you know that this is not something that you can get paid same day for in most cases if you're just starting out, right? Audiobooks take time. They are a marathon, not a sprint. And you don't get paid sometimes until 30 plus days later, right? There is time to invest, money to invest, training that you need to invest in for this business, because it is just that. It is not a quick online side hustle. It is a business, and it is something that you need to put a lot of time and passion and investment in financially and with your time, right? And I think a lot of people are, of course, looking for remote or online work. And I get it. Everybody has got, I shouldn't say everybody, but, with the pandemic and everything, everybody was working from home. And it's a great place to be, working from home, right? So more and more people are looking for more ways to stay home. And you really have to have passion for this. And that goes with really any online pursuit. You have to have passion. You have to invest time and energy into it to make it viable, right? Because it's a business. And I feel like I'm just rambling on. But let's go over to the chat. It looks like we have about 28 votes so far. 64% of you said just started. I'm in the learning phase. I remember that. 14% of you said part-time working. You're a working VO, but only doing it part-time. Another 14% of you said you are a working VO, but full-time. And 7% of you said only working VO once in a while. And I think that is one of the beauties of this business is your ability to do it when you want to. You can be a full-time voice actor and make yourself available for audiobooks, e-learning, video games, IVR, whatever it is that you want to do, or you can do it part-time when you just, as a side gig. Maybe you're retired and you just want a little additional income, or maybe just, once in a while because you love it so much, right? That is the beauty of voiceover. I figured I'm not really not surprised by the responses about just started and in the learning phase because this is something that you can do at really any point. It's never too late to become a voice actor. That's another question I get a lot. How do I know if my voice is good enough? How do I know with all of the competition that I see online? How do I know that I'm going to be accepted? Am I going to make money? Is my voice good enough? Am I too old? Am I too young? How do I know? By doing. As I have said many times before, voice actors represent the world in a lot of what we do, right? All of the characters that we portray or the audiobooks that we narrate, the characters that we become in educational content, in commercials and video games. I mean, there's, people of all from all walks, all gender, all race, all, nationality. So we represent the world in that effect. And therefore, there is a need for all the voices of the world to become voice actors, right? It's never too late. I don't think it's ever too early to become a voice actor. But the way to find out if, how do I want to phrase this? Not that you're good enough, but if you want to pursue this, if you will enjoy it, and if there is a demand, I guess. I don't know. I don't want to say that either. Because there really is a demand for everything. You'd be surprised in how many people that just tell me that, hey, my voice stinks, I'm never going to make any money. And then lo and behold, a couple months later, they have a rockin' career. But I guess I'm just going to say that don't be discouraged about the competition out there, and don't be discouraged about what you see and hear. If this is something that you want to do and you have a passion for this because you have to love what you do, you have to, then give it a try, right? Practice, get feedback on your demos, right? Fix any audio quality issues, performance issues, pronunciation, diction, whatever it is, right? By getting feedback from your peers. Join Facebook groups like mine, the VO Workshop, where I allow you to post a demo or a sample or, something audible to get feedback from your peers. So you can find out if there's little things you need to fix here and there. I feel like I'm just totally rambling on a tangent. There's just so much in my head that I don't want to forget to say. But I hope all of that makes sense. Let's go over to the comments really quick. We got quite a few. Let's see who's here first. First in, Caesar. Morning, Caesar, or good evening for you. Oh, hi. I voted part-time, but I'd say 90% of my life work, passion, and money goes right into VO. So I would say that you're probably full-time for the most part, right? 10% goes to everything else. I maintain a videography and web dev career that funds my VO endeavors. Well, there you go. Because I would still consider myself a full-time VO, even though I have other endeavors on the side too. But this is my main passion, source of income, the main thing that I spend the time on in a day. So I'm right there with you. I would say full-time for you. That said, hello, Angela. Hello, Caesar. Hello, everyone. The new Rode NT1 Signature Editions are out. They're very accessible at $160 and come in 6 exciting colors. If you're starting out or upgrading, grab this. I've seen pictures of those, I think. I think I saw a white one. Or am I thinking of something else? Because I want to say, God, who just came out with a Universal Audio? Just came out with a microphone that could replicate many different other microphone sounds. I think it was Universal Audio. Phantom Voice says, yo, I wasn't here last week, so I hope I didn't miss much. What did we talk about last week? Marketing. We talked about marketing. But just for you, we have the replay available to rewatch if you want to. But we talked about marketing for voiceover last week. Glowin is here. Hey, Glowin. Good to see you. For the poll, just started in the learning phase, if you consider 4 months in the learning phase. But the challenges in really starting are much more than I anticipated. And I think a lot of people would echo that for sure. There's a lot more to this than just picking up your phone and recording your voice into it, as a lot of people have been misled, into believing. But it is really easy to get stuck in that learning phase. And we have a word for that here: procrastinating, right? Don't allow yourself to get stuck in this phase of research, learning, holding yourself back from moving forward while telling yourself that I can't start because I haven't learned this, effectively enough, or I don't know how to do this, or I don't have this, or I don't, whatever it is, insert word here, whatever that reason is that you're making yourself not move forward because you think that you haven't learned, you haven't gained, you haven't researched, whatever it is. Don't get stuck in that phase, that procrastinating stage. You're holding yourself back from moving forward because you think you don't know enough, have enough, do enough, whatever it is. Just start. The sooner you could get started, the faster you will learn what works and what doesn't. The faster you will learn how to, how to mark up a script, take all the punctuation out, rework it all, because the spoken word and the written word are two different things, right? The faster you will learn that maybe you are adding artificial inflection instead of giving a true interpretation of the script in your read. Maybe, whatever it is, but learning by doing is going to benefit you much better and faster than just holding yourself back and, doing the research, right? Bear338, the tangents aplenty today. Bear338 says, to Glowen, I have also spent 4+ months learning. I don't think it matters too much on the time. The more you learn, the more you know, right? It is also easy to get caught in the learning loop. Absolutely. And I think, to your point, the more you learn, the more you know. That is in the doing and stepping outside of that procrastinating stage. If you do, then you learn, you get that hands-on experience of what works and what doesn't, right? You won't know what you don't know until you need to know it. And that also comes from doing, right? Stepping outside of your comfort zone, your warm little nest of procrastinating, step outside of it, have the courage to do that, and start learning by doing. And you will see much more success, I think, faster than just sitting back and researching. Miriam is here. Hey, Miriam. Hello, all. Hope you're having a wonderful day so far. It is a wonderful day because it is the release day for Iron Flame. For my fellow book nerds out there who are also probably kicking yourselves for ordering it on Amazon instead of going to a midnight release party. Now I have to wait for the Amazon guy with bated breath all day until my new book arrives. Other than that, it's fabulous. Glowen says, good morning, voiceover Angela and chat. I have a fresh coffee, my late breakfast, a bacon and tomato omelet with extra bacon. I approve, and toast on the side. Hope you're all having a great start to your day. That sounds delicious. Rustic Hillbilly is here. Good morning. Good morning, Angela. Loving the fall colors in Oregon. I bet you are. I bet you are. Arizona just goes from, most of Arizona anyway, the part that I live in anyway, just goes from brown with a little bit of green to mostly brown. No fall colors in my part of the state. Glowen to Bear 338 says, for me, I think my biggest holdback is a combination of my cheap starter mic, inability to use the DAW correctly, and my lack of confidence in my actual narration. And a lot of people would say they have been in that exact same spot, myself included. But again, I started with a Blue Yeti USB mic. I started with a USB mic. I didn't start with the Sennheiser. I mean, I started much like you, and I think a lot of other people watching, we just start with what we have or what we can get our hands on, not really knowing that there's so much more to the equipment, the gear, the DAW. There's so much more to it than we have ever realized. But I think by joining a group like the platinum group and things like that, you'll learn a lot faster and just listening to the conversations and going, oh, okay, well, there's all this other stuff. And then we talk about the DAWs and the effects that we can use and what they do and all of those things. That all of that comes with doing instead of just sitting back and researching and reading. Get involved, become part of a mastermind group or get a coach, get some training, start learning these things instead of sitting back on your laurels and just, researching, clicking around on the internet. Get involved and do it. Just do it. Dylan is here. Hello, Dylan. Good afternoon, all. With 2 kids in travel hockey and a full-time job, I'm only part-time, but still enjoy it, except for lately, since I'm slowly becoming one with the mucus that's infesting my head. Oh, no. I think that's pretty typical this time of year. I can totally feel it. Sooner or later, the kiddos are going to come home from school with a bug and, share it with you and everybody else in the house. It's inevitable. But just do what you can. And you do really well, Dylan. You do. There's a lot on, especially when you have kiddos, all of their extracurriculars and things. But you got this, Dylan. Glowin to Dylan, all that time in hockey rink must be killer on that sinus infection. Get better soon, dude. Oh, is it a sinus infection? That stinks. I feel for you. Fiber Jazz is here. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Happy Tuesday to you, Fiber Jazz. Dylan says, you're not wrong. Thank you. I appreciate it. Rebecca Queen. Good morning, Rebecca Queen. How are you? Thanks for being here. Caesar says, feel better soon, Dylan. Sounds to me like we've all been dealing with nostril issues from one form or another. Yeah, mine are just never ending. Facebook user, I can see and hear you with no issues. Thank you so much for that. Let me just check and see if it has it. I still can't access the actual live stream via my phone. So I'm not sure who Facebook user is. I'm sorry. If I had to guess, it's probably Colette. She watches via Facebook. Am I wrong? Yeah, I still can't get it to come up. I'm sorry. I can't see who you are. I'm sorry. Fiber Jazz says, hope that infection resolves soon. Yeah, sinus infections are never fun. Aaron Alling is here. Facebook working fine. Good morning. Thank you so much for that. Caesar says, incidentally, I was a whole hour early because I totally forgot about daylight savings. Funny thing, it doesn't change in Arizona. The time doesn't change. It's an hour later for me. But I figured I'm in the light of consistency, I'm trying to just stay at the same time every Tuesday, right? But thank you for being here, Caesar. Appreciate you. Facebook user says, I'm currently in between projects. Well, it's good. You're working. Gary Micheloni says, full-time freelancer, mostly writer, just part-time as VO, but a long-time storyteller. Nice. Nice. Full-time freelancer. That's a good way to describe myself as well, I think. Mostly VO, 90% VO. Glowen says, burp, all that fatter? And happy now. Breakfast is done. Just coffee now. Pork stew and sweet potatoes in the slow cooker for the next 6 hours. Can't wait for that. That sounds amazing. Phantom Voice says, I have dyslexia. My brain does a weird thing. It like squishes words together sometimes. And makes me pronounce words wrong because maybe it's more interesting to my brain. I don't know. But we all have some sort of a weird thing that our brains or mouths do. But hey, we work around it, right? Yes, sounds amazing. Caesar said, there is nothing simple about VO. Also, there is a whole lot of bogus information out there. Yes, there is, both regarding the business and technical side of VO. Communities like Angela's can help filter the mess. I appreciate that, Caesar. There is a lot. And I think, really any kind of industry that you decide to get into, you're going to find people that sort of capitalize on it, But so everything that you hear and see, you sort of have to take with a grain of salt, right? And that is why I always say, just listen to everybody. because there's so many people online with information to share. And even if their business model is to get you to, come into their world and buy their courses and buy their, whatever, their demo services or, whatever it is they're offering, that's fine. But you don't have to do that. You don't have to join their mastermind. You don't have to do any of that, but listen to what they have to say, because in the moments where they're sharing video content or audio content and information about how they got to where they are, or what their take is on current events, and whatever it is, listen to everybody, because you're going to find a nugget here and there in what everybody has to say. I know I did. Even if I didn't really like the way that the information was presented to me, I still found that there were nuggets within what they were saying that applied to my situation and really helped me out, right? Maybe I didn't like them as a person, but they had great information to share, right? Or maybe there's another person that you really like and you're not really agreeing with what they say or liking what they say, but it might add something to what this other person's. I mean, you never know. You never know. But just listen to what everybody has to say. And then if you do come across somebody who does offer a mastermind group or courses or anything like that, and or training, even, especially with training, because if you find somebody that you really feel comfortable with and they offer training, then reach out to them and ask them if they wouldn't mind coaching you, mentoring you, training you, take their courses, because it's, for me anyway, it was sort of hard to find a person that I really wanted to maybe not get involved with, but reach out to and learn from, directly, because that's another important aspect of this is training, right? Not only in performance, but learning your DAW, learning how to interpret a script, all of the things that you probably could figure out on your own, but it would be a lot faster. You'd see success a whole lot faster if you had someone to coach you along and to help you overcome maybe even bad things that you're doing that you shouldn't be doing. God, I feel like I'm rambling today. Am I rambling? Oh my gosh. But there's so much in my brain that I'm trying to articulate, I think, all at the same time. So I'm just kind of vomiting all over you, and I apologize, but listen to what everybody has to say, I guess is what I'm saying. But, not everybody is correct, and not everybody is, 100% right. Not everybody's wrong. I don't know. Just take it all in and just take what applies and leave what doesn't. I'm on fire today, man. I'm sorry. Pamela says, good morning. Good morning, Pamela. Glad you're here. Miriam says, what direction of training would you suggest for someone who is somewhat a newbie? Do you suggest a site or course to go to? When I was a newbie, I'm one of those people that I got stuck in that procrastinator learning stage for a while and taught myself a lot. And about a year and a half in, it wasn't until a year and a half in that I finally reached out and sought a coach, right? To give me the secret sauce. Just, put all of your information on me. I want to know everything that you know. I want to know everything that you did, so on and so forth. But in retrospect, I think I should have probably reached out for someone to help me sooner in my journey than in a year and a half. So if you're a newbie, really passionate about starting this, because your heart really has to be in it to do this and to stay with it, to stick with it, to see some money, right? To see some return on your investment. Pretty much what I just said about seeking out all of the information that you can. And if there's somebody on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter that shares information and they offer coaching services and you feel comfortable with them, right? You feel like they're approachable and you can talk to them and you would feel comfortable being candid and being coached by them, then reach out to them and see if you could get some coaching. But I really do think that training sooner in your journey rather than waiting until you're until you have a title under your belt or until you have XYZ. Don't no, get training sooner rather than later because you will see more success faster that way than being like me and hard-headed and thinking you can train yourself to do everything. You'll just see success a whole lot faster. So that's what I would do. And if you want to, and I'm sure you guys heard me talk about it a lot, but I have a group, the Platinum Group on my website, voiceoverangela.com. And I hate plugging myself, so bear with me, but I find it is helpful. We have a group of people we meet every Thursday night for at least 2 hours. We have a group Discord. We go through a lot of fun things. We do the Wheel of Emotions, which is always fun. We do what I call a roulette read, where I bring a cold read for everybody we break down the script and we take turns reading it. We do character work. We do audiobook work. We do all kinds of things and have a blast doing it. Not only that, but I have scripts that you can use for demos and practice. A lot of great information there. So that is a low cost, low pressure sort of an option. And if you choose to sit back like some people do and just absorb what everybody's saying, you can do that too, right? But we would love to have anybody who wants to join the group. Phantom Voice says, I have dyslexia. Ain't that great? I found that there are special texts. I'm trying to find the rest of your comment. I keep hitting enter. Darn these Shrek sausage fingers. Anyway, I just found fonts that can help. Dyslexia sucks. I also have epilepsy, so that doesn't help. So what is the font called that helps? That's interesting. The Anxious Gamer says, hey all, it's been a while. Used to be scary stories to sleep by. Kind of gave up on VO for a while because I couldn't get my recording quality where it needs to be. Hope you're all well. And don't let that stop you, because that in and of itself takes a lot of time, is to find the sweet spot, the perfect harmony for your room noise, for, all the effects to work, for your proximity to your microphone, to the treatment of your walls. All of that process takes time, right? So don't let that discourage you. Don't think that you can't ever get anywhere because you can't get your audio quality up to snuff. If that is the case and that is where you're stuck, then again, reach out to a Facebook group and play a demo, right? Upload a demo so you can get some feedback, or reach out to an audio engineer to help you, to do a booth audit for you and to help get your recording quality, up to snuff, or a mastermind group where we talk about DAWs and effects and give you tips on how to fix it. Having a community around you that's available with a hand extended saying, here, let me help you. Take that hand and get some help, get the help that you need. Caesar says, as for training, I'm mostly trained on my own using resources found on YouTube, i.e. Angela's. It took a while, but through this, I built a solid foundation for not just VO, but mastering and engineering. That's great. I mostly learned on my own, but fine-tuned with the help of professionals, people who knew more than I did. Caesar says, the drawback of being self-taught is often self-doubt because you're not a known industry pro. You're never sure if you're doing it right until you, 1, blow someone's mind, or 2, fail spectacularly. Oh my God, I feel that comment, Caesar. I feel that comment. Again, get it. If you're in that space, get with a group where you can get live feedback and help and assistance. And they don't have to be industry pros or known industry pros, right? If someone is 5-6 years in to this, they're going to know enough by their own doing and experience to probably help you along your journey, right? Or hire an industry pro like an audio engineer to help you. Phil says, hey, Angela. Hey, guys. Hey, Phil. How you doing? Writer Dude says, good morning. A couple of minutes late. That's okay. I hope you brought the donuts. If you're late, you bring donuts. Rebecca Queen says, yes, I've given myself an official start date. Good. It has helped me to ramp up and focus my learning and studying. That is great. I think having a goal, a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly goal is really, really good. Not only that, but what was the other thing I was going to say? Having goals, and I'm sure it'll come back to me. Dang it. It was right there waving at me, and then it just ran away. But goals are definitely a good thing to have. Aaron Alling says, what mic are you using? Sounds great. Oh, thank you. This is the Sennheiser MKH 416. This is, I've had this mic for about 3 or 4 years now. I have a couple of others. I have some videos here on my channel where I bought a couple of other lower price point XLR mics that sound great, you know, a really good bang for your buck. The Lewitt 440 Pure, and what was the other one? Oh my gosh, I had just bought this one too. It is the CAD E100SX. That one is also, those are both $300 or less. Both sort of in that price point, both great microphones. But my Sennheiser has my heart. Phil says, got an email from ACX. My audiobook has been made available in Brazil. Well, congratulations, Phil. That's exciting. Writer Dude says to Caesar, the upside, often some of the most successful in an industry are self-taught. That's a great point. It's a great point. Glowen says, you've heard my reads. Do I have the misplaced inflections in my reads? Now I'm questioning that. To tell you the truth, Glowen, I can't tell you off the top of my head. But I think it's something that we commonly do. A lot of us do it in the beginning because, again, in the beginning, we have this ideal of a voice actor in our head, the narrator voice. We hit that record button in our DAW and we think that we need to become something other than ourselves. And instead of really understanding, you know, or interpreting the script, understanding the who am I as the narrator, why am I talking and who am I talking to, right? What is the purpose of this read? Really understanding that and then giving it a read as yourself with your own perceptions, with your own, you know, you're just kind of inserting an artificial inflection. You're just kind of modulating your voice because you think that's what you need to do. That is artificial inflection. Instead, understanding the script and giving it your own take on how you feel about it, being in that position with who you're talking to, is going to be much more beneficial and help you quite a bit in maybe even seeing more jobs than just inserting artificial inflection. So you have sort of like a melodic voice. I did it too. I think a lot of us do. But I think understanding the script is going to help you far, far better. Caesar says, ooh, yes, Angela, the white mics are the Universal Audio SD1 Dynamic, SC1 Condenser, and SP1 Pencil. Those are what I was thinking about earlier. Yeah. They all support the Hemisphere plugin that has mic modeling to mimic other mics. That, when I saw that, that was so intriguing. So I have to know if anybody, I'm sure Booth Junkie will have something on it. If he doesn't already, I'll be watching. Caesar to Writer Dude says, true. Self-taught often is the toughest, most brutal, but also most durable form of learning. To paraphrase Hemingway, the world breaks us, but we are stronger in the broken places. Love it. Miriam says to Rustic Hillbilly, I'm in Oregon as well, and it's very pretty with the colors, right? Love Oregon. Facebook user says, right there with Glowen. Caesar to Aaron says, that is a Sennheiser MKH 416 shotgun. It's an excellent mic. I love my mic. Tycon Dolar, and why do I always have trouble with this one? Tycon Dolor? Watch the YouTube video by Mike Russell. I love Mike Russell too. That's a great channel to watch if you want to learn about your DAW. I know for a fact that he has information or videos about Adobe Audition. I think he also has some on Reaper and Audacity. I could be wrong, but I think he has more than just Adobe Audition. But Mike Russell, check him out on YouTube. And his wife, Isabella Russell. It was dated 2023, and they basically said AI will take most VO jobs very soon. His wife works in the biz. I hope they're wrong. I think it's going to take... I think AI will take some of the lower hanging fruit that doesn't really require a soul or a human emotion, but not everything. Not everything. No. Don't let that fear guide you. Just keep on trucking. Phantom Voice says, I built a studio last week and used the moving blankets. It's about a 4x6 room. I feel the sound is amplified. I can't win for losing. The sound, what sound? Like noise is amplified? You might be better suited to grab one of the audio engineers to help you do a booth audit and to figure out what noises that you're experiencing, if it's even an issue, right? Because we don't know what we don't know. What you're hearing or what you're seeing in like a spectral waveform that you might perceive to be an issue maybe really isn't an issue, right? BB Homebody says, morning, everyone. Coffee all around. Just curious, what is your second choice for voiceover work after ACX? I'm stuck in ACX audition mode. I think it really depends on what you want to do. I think naturally, most steps for people after ACX is branching out to pay-to-plays or casting sites. As we know, there's over 100 of them out there. There's freelance marketplace platforms like, of course, Fiverr and Upwork. There's also Guru, Freelancer. There's a ton of them. And then there's the casting sites like Badalgo, Voice123, Voquent, Voice Giant. You know, a lot of them out there. I think that's usually the next step right after ACX. If you're looking for specifically audiobook work, I would highly recommend creating social media platforms for your audiobook business and getting involved. Start creating content to start, moving the algorithm, out, or reaching out to other publishers, indie authors, other narrators, through the algorithms on those social media platforms. That is, I think, one of the best ways to find audiobook work. Glowen says to Phantom Voice, I did the same thing. It was suggested, and I followed the suggestion. Hang some old shirts and or towels inside your new studio to help with the wavy needed to unbounce the sounds. I think what I'm picturing in my head is perhaps you built a studio space and you had a bunch of hard walls, hard surfaces around you. So then you dampen the chance of echo bouncing around the room by hanging up soft materials. It worked for me, but I think it's not always just as cut and dry as that in your studio. Some of them might need, because of their shape or their size, they might need additional dampening with either bass traps, acoustic foam. Maybe your space is just very, very large and they're really, maybe you could even shrink it in a little bit with, make it a smaller, what was it that, there are a couple people I knew that started in a very large bedroom and they sort of used a partition to sort of make their recording space smaller so you could sort of control the sound a little bit better. Everybody, that's just another variable that you need to address, right? When you're creating a studio space, because everybody's situation is different. I have this little tiny 5x6 room. So this one was relatively, in retrospect, now thinking about it now, it was relatively easy to get the sound under control. But if it was a larger room, it probably would have taken more time to get the sound down in a much larger room. So my point is, stick with it and just try some different things. And you might just see that it will eventually sound just fine with a little bit of work, a little bit of trial and error. Don't let that stop you. BB Homebody says, morning all, coffee all around. I'm curious. We just did that one. Gary says to Glowen, I can taste that stew and sweet potatoes now. That sounds amazing, doesn't it? Brittany Beck says to BB Homebody, I've gotten my last two from people that found my Instagram account. There you go. There you go. Social media is free, my friends. Glowen says to Gary, trying a new recipe to make it spicy. Initial taste tests are promising. I'm hungry. Stop it. Bear338 says, I have made a small step forward and joined your Facebook group. It's under Donnie Breen. not Bear338. Hopefully I can get my room done again. And picking a mic is daunting, to say the least. It is. And I think Booth Junkie, the YouTube channel Booth Junkie, was so useful in helping me to determine the differences in sound from microphone to microphone. I know it's not my voice that I'm hearing his, Mike's voice, but it sort of gave me an idea of how each mic could change the quality or the sound, the depth and the richness of your voice. So it sort of gives you an idea. If you have a instrument store like a Guitar Center or something like that near you, sometimes they'll actually have microphones available, in store that you can put some headphones on and listen to yourself through them. If obviously that is ideal if you can sort of test drive a microphone before you buy it. But in most cases, you're going to find that it's just sort of choosing one based on an educated guess, bringing it home, plugging it in, giving it a try, and then deciding whether or not you like it, and then returning it and trying something else. Again, part of the trial and error process is finding, a microphone that best suits your voice, your room, and your needs. But stick with it. You will get past it. Glowen says to Bear338, to Caesar. Oh, Bear and Caesar Caesar is our resident mic aficionado. He might have some good advice. Yeah, Caesar is our tech guy for sure. Caesar to Bear. My experience is that once your room treatment is spot on, nearly all mics are usable. You may want to start out with a flat, balanced mic first, like a Rode NT1. I started with, after the Blue Yeti, my first XLR mic was a Rode NT1A. And then after that, I bought the Sennheiser and never looked back. Bought a couple of other, like I said, lower price point XLRs that were amazing, the Lewitt and the CAD. But I'm just in love with the sound of my Sennheiser. Bears338 says, I am stuck between you, Angela, and Steve Blum for classes coaching. You are amazing, and I feel your teaching style would be a great fit. In my head, I hear, Angela, I love your tangents, and I love it when you confuse me. But I appreciate that. I appreciate that. But when it comes down to choosing someone to talk to listen to get guidance from, it comes down to how comfortable you feel and how much information you think because you're going to be investing some money. You're going to be investing time in this person. So if you feel like you can get more from Steve, then reach out to Steve. If you feel like you can get more from me, then reach out to me. It's really up to you and what you feel is going to be best for you. JCCAOL says, hey, Angela. Hey. First day in 7 days, I was able to have coffee. Coffee is not good if you're sick. Oh, says who? I'm sorry, but even when I'm sick, I have coffee. Unless it's like a tummy bug, and then I'll have to skip it but me and coffee. Caesar says to Glowen, I love your timing. Facebook user Miriam Berger. The Platinum Group has a lot of people who are willing to answer your questions. You can't beat it for the price. Plus, it's a fun group. Yeah, my Platinum Group is $20 a month. It's really not. I don't do it for the money. I do it because I enjoy the community and because I want to sort of pay it forward. I want to help as much as I can. I can't do it for free, obviously, because there's, the Zoom costs and things like that, keeping the things running and the sites. But I think that's a pretty good price point for what we offer. And it is a fun group. We have a lot of laughs. Everybody brings a drink. We have a great time, but we get the work done. Andrew Jepson says, hey, Angela. Hey, Andrew. Finally moving with a VO side hustle. Learning Adobe Audition and have an ACX profile. I feel I need training before I start bidding on projects. You know what I did, Andrew? Because I was hard-headed and didn't get training soon enough, I volunteered to narrate books or chapters of books on LibriVox.org. LibriVox.org. And I think I have a few other videos here on my channel where I talk about LibriVox. But it's essentially a site where you can volunteer your skill and your time to narrate books in the public domain. You can choose a book to read in its entirety, or you can choose to read a chapter or maybe a section of a book. But in doing that, you learn a lot about you and your narration style, how well you can hold your breath and read through a sentence. You learn how to use your DAW and to effectively use your DAW. And then, there's so much you learn by just doing that. And then the confidence that you gain by doing that is everything, right? Because then you could go to ACX, you could go to a casting site, you know that you can do it and you know that you enjoy it. So you feel a little bit better about charging people for your talents and your time, right? So that's what I did. And it really did help a lot. So that's what I always recommend for people to try is LibriVox.org. And we have a super chat. Hold on. Sean Lester. Thank you for the super chat, Sean. I appreciate you. I hear that putting content out on social media is good for promoting a VO business. What sort of content do you recommend? VO specific stories? That is a question I get pretty much every single time I mention social media content. It's the same question that I asked my coach when he, suggested that I start making social media content. It can be whatever you want it to be. It does not need to be VO specific. It doesn't have to be audiobook specific. It can be, what you're doing that day. Maybe you're out walking the dogs. Maybe you're the daily affirmation guy. Maybe you're, whatever you can think to do, whatever your little, if you want to do like funny quotes or horror Reddit stories, whatever it is that you want to do, and then inject a little bit of VO stuff, like maybe a booth tour, or here's a little bit of behind the scenes of this audition that I was doing. Be you and make it known that you are a voice actor, audiobook narrator, but also be yourself. Let them see you. Let them see your personality. Let them see who you are as a person. I think all of that definitely helps with your social media content. And I've heard it time and time again from other narrators and voice artists that not only do other narrators and voice artists find you, but then through those people, you may even get referrals and recommendations or land on their pages where they, potentially have publishers, casting directors looking at their content. So having content on social media is huge for, the wide fingers that the social media platform can take your content to and show it to. That was another tangent. And I apologize. I'm in fuego today. Good gosh. All right. Where do we leave off? Here we are. Phantom Voice to Glow, and I'll try that. I have never thought of the clothes. Plus, it's cheaper than a $10 to $20 moving blanket. Mm-hmm. If you're converting a closet, leave the clothes in. Leave the clothes in the closet. That'll help to sort of dampen, the vibrations of your voice bouncing around the room, causing an echo. BB Homebody says to Brittany Beck, thanks so much for the info. Glowen says, glad to help, sir. Eric is here, my buddy Eric. Good morning, Eric. Checking in from the Sunset Bar on the Celebrity Equinox at 9:30 a.m. ship time. Enjoy your cruise. Cruise director Eric. Caesar to Eric says, don't drown. Kidding, have fun. Yes, please, don't drown. And we're not kidding about that, but have fun. Have fun and don't drown. Bear338 says, sorry, dude chatty had a lot of coffee today. It's okay. Hey, we all love our coffee here. Andrew says, excuse me. Hey, Angela, how do I join that Thursday night group here? Go to my website. Where is it? voiceoverangela.com. And if you go to the plans and pricing page, I think it's called, it'll have my Fiverr gig review service where I review your Fiverr gigs and things like that, and a couple of courses that I have there. And it's called the Platinum Group. I'm losing my train of thought already. Platinum Group, you just click it. It's a monthly subscription. It's $20 a month. Stay as long as you want. We have a great time. Excuse me. Glowen says, hello, Eric. Hope the cruise is fun and relaxing. And Eric is a diehard Platinum Group member wherever he is in the world. If he's on a cruise ship, if he's at Disneyland, it doesn't matter where he's at. He will join and say hello. He'll pop into the group and say hello to everybody. Caesar to Bear says, we appreciate Chatty. Chatty is good. Unless Angela has a post Q&A meeting, then Chatty becomes a frenetic but entertaining chipmunk fast forward. Caesar says to the anxious gamer, say, if you're in Angela's Platinum, we all help everyone else fine-tune their audio quality. Who knows? All you need is a frame and some blankets. And let me tell you, not only our Thursday meetings are very informative for not only, I would hope, everybody else in the group, but for me as well. And then we also have a Discord where you can watch other people work. You can ask questions. We have monthly competitions with mock auditions. We do all kinds of fun stuff. I love my Discord group. It's amazing. Phantom Voice says, the font is Open Dyslexic. Interesting. You can look it up on Google. I came across it reading a story about Bruce Willis and the struggles he's having. God bless him. Bruce Willis is dyslexic? I didn't know that. Interesting. Haluk Kasarsi? Am I saying that right? Hey there, lovely people. Greetings from France. As someone who is just starting out, is there any specific way one can learn not to hate his own voice? It comes with time. It comes with time. And we were just talking about this, I think, last week in our Platinum group about loving your voice. I think it was Eric that actually said that. You have to love the sound of your own voice. It is different in the beginning when you start to hear your voice outside of your own head quite a bit, and it makes you sort of feel cringy, right? You're like, good God, why would anybody even pay to listen to that? That is just horrible. But you're wrong. Because again, voice actors represent the world, and what you think might not sound, ideal or good to the ear, someone could be looking for exactly your voice. You don't know unless you get out there and try and just do, right? But you will get used to it. The more and more you hear it, the more and more you have to manipulate it, play with it, edit it, enhance it. And the more you hear it just through the doing, you will get used to it, and it'll be less cringy over time. I was in that same place. I totally know what you're talking about, but you do get past it. Joya says, giving perspective, I'm a published author narrating my own books. I read 2 chapters this morning and flubbed up and scrambled my words. Even the author can flub up the book. Just do it. Record something. Thank you, Joya. Queen Penguin, your thoughts on whether I should use an alias for VO work. As with my real name, I have a tiny platform where I talk about current events from a religious perspective, can be controversial by nature. I think that is something that everyone needs to decide on their own, but it is something that is available to you. The only thing to consider if you are considering using not only your actual name, but then a pseudonym or a stage name, is that you're going to have a complete profile, personality, maybe even website and social media platforms for this other name that you choose apart from your own. Not only that, but you're going to have to make sure that you have a DBA for that in your business licensing. So there's a lot more to it if you're going to choose an alias, a stage name, a pseudonym. That is the only other thing to consider. If it's worth all of that extra effort, then do it. Joya says, trying to be supportive, not bragging. Well, we know. We know, Joya. Brian says, have been procrastinating for about a year. Finally recorded my first test files for ACX and build my moving blanket recording fort. Trying to get over that hump of waiting to start. If you have a recorded test file, submit it as a sample at the very least. At the very least, submit it as a sample. And then also, if you're in my Facebook group, the VO workshop, post it for feedback, right? Because you can always replace those samples. You can always add to them. I don't think there's a cap on how many samples you can have on ACX. But doing that one thing, that one action will help you to feel more confident about moving forward. It's sort of like crossing that first line, right? Once you're past it, you can finally start to walk further past it, right? You're not stuck at that starting line anymore. You've moved past it. Now keep going past it, right? So try that. Caesar says, bonjour to Haluk. I hated my voice too, to everyone's immense surprise. Oh, I'm shocked. I'm still shocked by that, Caesar. I think the best way to get the hate out is 1, record, 2, join a supportive community, and 3, practice with the same community. Like my platinum group. Exactly. That shocks me, Caesar. Geok7123 or Z123 says, hi, what are your thoughts, if any, on the VO conventions? I would love to go to more conventions. I think what you can learn, what you can gain from going to conventions is huge. Not only in learning the subject matter that is being presented and learning from some of the greats that could be there, doing their keynote speeches or their workshops or whatever's available at the convention, but also in the networking aspect, meeting your peers and then learning from them. I mean, I don't think there's any downside apart from maybe the cost, but that's just an investment. That's not really a downside. It's an investment in you. It's an investment in your business. If you look at it that way, it's not bad at all. It's all good things. I've only been to conventions. I've only attended conventions and conferences virtually because just with the timing of when I started my business and when I was available to do these things, it was, pandemic, everything was shut down. So from the comfort of my own studio, most of these are now virtual also. You can either attend in person or, view it virtually. So you could do it either way. And I think any which way you do it and anyone you go to is going to be beneficial to you, for sure. Pamela says, what can you glean from the Platinum Group is invaluable. Oh, that's sweet. And for $20 a month and solid advice from a good peer group. Thanks, Pamela. You're one of the major assets to that group, Pamela. Zerufiel, did I say that right? What level do you record your narration? What do you mean? What volume level? My raw input gain while I'm recording falls usually somewhere between -18 and -12, maybe even -9, depending on what I'm doing. And then once I, put a nice EQ on it, maybe a little bit of a sibilance reducer, and then I normalize it to -3, the final volume usually falls somewhere between -3 and -6, if that's what you're asking. Caesar says, moving blankets, especially without bass traps, can create standing waves and exaggerate the low end while subtracting the high end. It is very fixable with EQ and a tuned effects rack. Caesar, you're magical. Dylan says, I hated my own voice also, but the support of the Thursday group and consistently recording and editing got me over the cringe factor of listening to my own voice. You also have a very good voice, Dylan. So it's just proof that we all do it to ourselves, right? We all tell ourselves that because the voice outside of our head that we hear in the playback is just horrible because we're not really familiar with our own voice. I mean, how often do we listen to our own voice, before you become a voice actor? Not very often. And then hearing it, you're just like, ugh, it doesn't sound anything like what I hear from my favorite voice artists or audiobook narrators. And you just constantly comparing yourself to them in a negative way. And that's not how you should be looking at it. And I didn't know that either in the beginning. I hated my own voice. Like, good God, why would anybody pay to hear that? But they do. So get out there and get to it. The Anxious Gamer says, I learned that there is a new game coming out that is the first to be completely voiced by AI, and it sounds ridiculous, as you may imagine. I think there's going to be a lot of these sort of tests, but I think ultimately what's going to happen is the feedback is not going to be from the end user, is not going to be what they anticipate. And they'll come right back to voice actors. That's my gut feeling. But again, I can't see the future. All I can do is be positive and keep on trucking in my own business. And I recommend that you do the same. Just keep going. Just keep going. Bear338 says, Caesar, do you mean the brass rings on the blankets? I am going this route as well. BB Homebody says, thanks a million, Angela. I appreciate your support so much. Well, thank you for that. You guys are so sweet. Joya says to Bear338, if you're in the Platinum group, join Discord and then send a sample of your recording in the feedback feed. We'll get your sound up to par. Discord link in the VO Workshop Live. See. Caesar says to Bear, oh, I meant how the moving blankets can affect recorded tone. Brass rings are great for hanging curtains, though, if your blankets have grommets. Don't forget to treat the space above you. And then Christy Lynn is here. Hey, Christy Lynn, another Platinum member. I'm late. I hope you brought the donuts. I'm hungry. Bear338 says to Caesar, oh, okay, thank you. Caesar says, honestly speaking, I'm an incredibly fast learner. I have not reached out to any coach for a one-on-one. What Angela and her community has done for me is strip away my self-doubt and squash my PTSD. Oh, Caesar. I'm so glad to hear that. You are going to be a force. You are a force to be reckoned with, and you don't realize that yet. But I'm glad that we were able to help you move past it, Caesar. Musical Neptunian, hello. As a LibriVox volunteer, I recommend LibriVox, as do I. Caesar says to Sean, sample reads, funny outtakes. There you go. Blooper reels. A day in the life content and industry advice are what I've seen so far. Christy says, I get good results with the Neat Worker Bee 2 mix. The Neat Worker Bee is a microphone. Orion Centurion says, would you train a newbie British VO? I make myself available to whomever can. Let me just back up and say, I have limited availability during the week to offer like mentorship or one-on-one meetings. If you want to meet with me for like a half an hour, if you want my help to walk you through setting up a profile or getting feedback on your space, or what, I kind of meet you where you are, but I only have limited spots available during the week. With the time difference, if you're overseas from me, then that might be a little bit difficult, but I'm willing to help anybody who wants me to help them. If you, again, for a half-hour session, if you just have some questions or need my help getting through things. And if you're thinking as far as the Platinum group, it is at 8 p.m. EST on Thursday nights, if you're able to swing that. And again, we meet for usually a couple hours, sometimes more, every Thursday. Bronx Batman says, what is this DAW you speak of? Oh, the DAW. That is your digital audio workstation. That is the recording software that you're using to record and edit and master your voiceover files. That is Adobe Audition, which is what I use. That is Reaper, Studio One, Audacity. There's several out there that you can choose from. That is what a DAW is. See, I'm mixing words together already. Miriam Berger says, that is my office, my closet, amongst my shirts, pants, and jackets. Facebook user says, wish I could do coffee. I miss it. Oh, I couldn't even. Tea. Could you do tea? I hope you can do tea. Christy Lynn says, UDAW, Digital Audio Workspace. Thank you. Thank you. The Anxious Gamer says, I am still in the Facebook group chat, but sad as it is, I can't afford the Platinum group right now still. Hopefully someday I can get my motivation back. That's okay. I keep that price point low just so it's not like a huge expense because I want people to learn, and I want people to grow without having to break the bank to do it, right? But we'll be glad to have you when you're ready. Of course. Gary Micheloni says, Eric, if Celebrity has a ship's camera, you should share the link and then we can see where you're going. I love cruising. Actually had the chance to as a speaker on one. Our cabin was deck 2 next to rowers. I haven't been on a cruise in so long. Caesar says or Bruce Willis unfortunately suffers from frontotemporal dementia. Did I say that right? He has since retired from movies and spent time with his family. I think I heard that somewhere, but I didn't really know why. I believe recently he has lost his capacity for speech. Oh boy. That's terrible. Christy Lynn says, no, don't drown. We need bad cop Eric. Bad cop Eric plus drowning equals blub blub Eric. God, you guys. Glowen says, that is very sad about Bruce Willis. Yes, he was mostly typecasted, but I did really like him on screen and in talk shows. The man was hysterical. He was, wasn't he? Or isn't he? Writer Dude says to Haluk, your voice when you speak sounds very different to those around you because you get a lot through bone conduction. You just have to get used to hearing it objectively. Glowen to Caesar, LOL. Caesar to Glowen, yes, I know I have the funny. Christy Lynn says, Bruce Willis has aphasia and is almost completely non-communicative at this point. Oh, that's terrible. Poor guy. Glowen says to Caesar, you do realize, of course, should bad cop Eric read that, he's going to be all over your next class recording. Caesar says to Glowen, I'm crossing fingers he won't, but if he does, I'd have deserved it. Brittany Beck says, I found what helps me with hearing my own voice is getting over the fact that my head voice sounds different than my recorded voice. Neither is bad. I just had to get familiar with it. Very well stated, Brittany. That is exactly what you need to do. And by doing, you get to hear it more often, enabling you to get used to it. So another reason to stop procrastinating and just move forward already. Musical Neptunian says Microsoft's AI mass project with Project Gutenberg is terrible. Uses one male American accent. Probably sums Microsoft's culture up. LOL. Yeah, I think this is just going to keep coming to a head, but I don't think the end result is going to be what was intended. And I don't think the end users, the consumers, whoever's listening is going to enjoy it half as much as if it were a real person. Caesar says the game is the finals on an FPS. The devs have clarified that the AI is for minor characters and have been developed using human voice input. Emotional VO performances are still done traditionally. Well, there you go. At least they're still using their brains, right? I don't know how well I would respond to all AI casts. Because if you've ever played a video game, man, the voice actors bring that character to life, and then just giving that to AI would just be a horrible result, I think. Christy Lynn says, to add to what Caesar said, having your blankets baffled like drapery will also help with the sound balancing around. Sound bouncing around. What did I say? I don't even know what I said. Caesar says we all need to understand that AI VO has its limits and is still developed using human voice input that's being parsed through an algorithm. Our jobs are still safe and sound until we build androids. Thank you, Caesar. Perfectly stated. Fiber Jazz says, I agree with Christy Lynn. Christy Lynn says, dope. I knew I was forgetting something. Sadly, no donuts. I'm so hungry now. I want donuts. Danielle Mustacato says, hi all. Does anyone have some tips on doing multiple VO projects at the same time? I'm currently doing VO part-time. Scheduling is definitely going to help. I know sometimes you'll perfectly schedule a few projects, and then maybe a return client or a new client comes to you and says, hey, do you have time to do this? And you're like, no, I really don't, but I don't want to miss this opportunity, right? I've had a lot of those times where I think I have everything perfectly scheduled, and then someone just throws a big old monkey wrench into the mix, and I find myself in here for 14, 15 hours trying to get, stuff done. It's going to happen from time to time, but I think the best way to handle that is just the right mindset, right? These are all being that busy is a good problem to have and a problem a lot of people would love to have, right? So, using my agenda book, my daily agenda book that sits on my desk, I will break the projects down, right? So, for instance, today is Tuesday. So then I'll say, okay, from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., work on this project. From 8 a.m. to or 7 a.m. to this, parse it out on throughout the day, and then take breaks. Make sure that you take a lot of breaks, especially if you have a lot of work to do. But knowing your schedule, you're going to know better how to sort of break them up so you can keep progress moving forward on each of them all at the same time. It's not easy, but again, a good problem to have. So just do your best with the time that you have to get them all done. If you need extra time, I don't think I've ever had clients tell me, no, you absolutely can't have another day, or you absolutely can't have, they'll try their best to move things around to accommodate your needs to get the best, possible quality that they can get. So if you need extra time, ask for extra time. Gary says, my prediction of AI taking over VO, it is as bright as the certainty of Bitcoin. Foxy Lady says, hi, Angela. So glad I stumbled upon you. I hope you didn't hurt yourself. Oh, no, it was my attempt at humor. I apologize. I am such a newbie in this industry. I have learned so much from you thus far. I'm glad. I ordered my mic, headphones, and audio interface. Awesome. Welcome to the family. Glad to have you. She then says, I was wondering if I will be limited for jobs as a narrator as an African American. Absolutely not. I have many different ranges, but just a bit concerned. Should I be? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. No. Mm-mm. Do not limit yourself. I see just as many invitations fall into my inbox for an African American, right? I think, again, there is a need for every voice because voice actors represent the voices of the world. So don't ever limit yourself. Don't limit yourself based on what you think may not be reality. So get out there and do it. Fiber Jazz to Foxy Lady. So exciting. What brands and models? Fiber Jazz says, no need to be concerned. So many wonderful African-American VO actors, and you could be one too. Brittany Beck says, there are so many authors from different backgrounds. I don't think you should have any issue. Yeah, all of these. I echo all of these. Caesar says, what I do to match my recorded voice to my head voice a bit is by adding a small 2 decibel bump around 100 hertz in my EQ. Might be higher for female voices, around 150 to 200 hertz, I think. That is a lot further than I think I would even go. I think I just, by doing and then by going back, recording something and then going back and doing the editing and the fine tuning and doing that over and over and over and over again, whether it's an audition, a sample, a project, whatever it is, you just slowly start to become accustomed to the sound of your own voice, for sure. Foxy Lady says, thank you for your encouragement. So excited to get started. And you should be. I remember how excited I was, but terrified at the same time, right? Starting any new endeavor is exciting and terrifying all at the same time. But to do it again, oh my gosh, how fun. I'm so excited for you. But we've been on for about an hour and 15 minutes. I have to get going, but here, let's just do this last comment. Danielle says, thank you for the advice, Angela. I am new to VO. My first client on ACX is a repeat client. That's awesome. Those are the best clients to have. I love working with them, but also want to try other types of projects as well, as you should. And that's pretty much how I started as well. I started with just audiobooks, and then I made myself available on freelance marketplaces like Upwork and Fiverr. And then people would reach out and say, hey, I see that you do audiobooks, but I love your voice. Would you be interested in doing this long form documentary or this YouTube video or this recording my phone greetings from my company? so on and so forth, my PowerPoint presentation, whatever it is. And then I had to look it up on Google. How do you do this? Really? Oh, okay. Yeah. I can totally figure out how to do that. Yes, I can make myself available for you. And then you just sort of slowly start to learn all of these new things and how much we didn't even think about how much voice actors are needed for everything with a voice, including podcasts. I mean, everything that you hear is a person, more than likely even a voice actor. Video games, e-learning content, educational online courses and tutorials. Oh my gosh, don't get me started on another tangent because I'll be here for another 20 minutes. But you guys, I really appreciate the time that you guys take from your day to spend a little bit of time not only with me, but with everybody else here in the chat. I really do appreciate it. I will be here next Tuesday at the same bat time, same bat channel, next Tuesday at 12 p.m. EST. If there's something specific that you guys want to talk about, discuss, learn more about, if you have some ideas for maybe topics for a future community chat, please leave them down below in the comments. I really appreciate that. But until then, I'll see everybody next week. Eric, don't drown, stay safe. I'll see y'all then. Bye. Thank you so much for listening today. I really appreciate it. If you have an extra moment, please feel free to leave a review. We'll see you next time.